We are here with Uptown Bunny.
Uptown Bunny.
Yes.
Well, I'm happy to be here. This is one of my favorite things to do.
Why?
Why? Because it's a lot of fun, and it's also it's validating.
Yeah.
And I feel successful, which feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. What more do you need? Okay. All right. I have 4 questions, so I'll start with the first. What is your favorite part about being a creator?
I have a few favorites. First, probably that I get to make my own schedule.
Okay.
That's something with other jobs you don't really get. So freedom.
Are you like a late riser,
yes,
work into the evening, which is not the norm?
Well, I get into like modes where I can work for like 10 hours, but I don't know when that 10 hours is gonna be.
Right, yes.
And then I have to sleep for like 10 hours. I also don't know when that's gonna be.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
So I like the freedom to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. All right. Next one. Do you have any this type of creator work interests?
I do.
Tell me about them.
So I'm a painter.
Love it. What do you paint?
Mostly like demonic women.
Not mad about that.
Yes.
So specific, and I love it.
Yes.
Okay.
When
did you start that? What made you?
Ever since I was a kid, my uncle was an artist, so he used to teach me when I was younger. I just picked it up and loved it. So I've always had a passion for painting, drawing, illustration, animation.
Are you wanting to go somewhere with that?
Totally. The art world is like crazy, and I don't really know how to navigate that. But
does anybody?
No one. No, I don't know. I think they're all faking it till they make it.
Higher power.
Yeah.
I don't know how you navigate it.
No.
Yeah.
But I have met a lot of interesting people that I take inspiration from. I go to school for art, so I get to see like what different people are doing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool.
I like hiking, swimming.
Yeah.
I love the ocean, anything outdoors.
Yeah. Outdoors feels good.
And animals. I have pet rats.
Okay. What are your rats' names?
Take care. Well, I only have one left. Her name is Chi-Chi.
Ah, Chi-Chi.
My little baby Chi-Chi.
The soul survivor.
Yeah.
Okay. We love Chi-Chi. All right.
We do.
All right. How do you practice self-care? Which is important.
It is
especially
very important.
In this line of work.
Yeah. Lots of things. I mean, weed's my best friend.
So much same.
Weed is my best friend.
Weed is my best friend.
I also have a very loving and supporting partner, Heath Avery. Check him out.
Follow.
But anytime I need to come home and like de-stress, sometimes like if you're doing a scene that's really intense or something like that.
What's your version of an intense scene?
Most of the stuff I do is like hardcore fetish. So like play, impact.
See, I haven't really gotten into that depth yet, which I would like to explore.
It's really fun.
Eventually.
That's actually how I started.
Really?
The first stuff I ever did, I started with just doing like really hardcore scenes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And were you into that sort of lifestyle beforehand, and then you were like, oh, maybe I can show this to to someone, to an audience?
Well, I think like I've always been a masochist. I always knew that about myself from like a young age. I just didn't know that there were other people that like to do that with you.
Yeah.
So I had like a relationship with someone where we basically just tried everything out.
Okay.
And I realized like how much I like to be
a healthy
dominated
thing to do.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So then after like discovering my love for that, then I started just like messaging people in my area that were like doming people that I saw online, and I was like, oh, that's like something I could do.
And without being filmed or anything, just the experiences.
Yeah, at first it was just the experiences.
Okay.
But I also at the time was dabbling in like, maybe I want to start an OnlyFans. This was back in like 2019 when everyone was like starting one. So I was like, I kind of want to do it. I don't know. So then they kind of just merged perfectly,
and
I started.
Fit.
Yeah. I did like go into it talking to doms, not knowing what I was doing.
Right.
And I kind of like pretended like I knew like the language of like what
fake it
to
till
do.
you make it.
Yeah, so I was
kind
very
of
blessed to be in the presence of doms who like knew what they were doing, knew how to teach me about like all of the consent, like.
Well, I'm sure you have
stuff.
like a level of sincerity where you're like, I'm actually interested in this thing. I want to learn more and like respect the practice of it.
Yeah.
And that's, I feel like, a huge thing because now, I mean, I'm not into like fin doming or like specific doming, but I feel like I see a lot of sort of complaints or, you know, it's people who have established themselves in these lifestyles. And then newcomers come and they're like, easy money. You just tell, you know, men like, fuck you, pay me. That like, fuck you, pay me is just not really, because there are things like aftercare and like respect.
Because it's a dynamic.
Exactly.
And
you're creating a dynamic.
Like it goes both ways. I've seen people try to get into findom or femdom and not really understand that dynamic part. Like that it's a give and take relationship.
There's a level of trust.
Yeah,
that
and
you have
same
to create
with like
with
doms
someone.
who want to dom you. You know, you get a lot of people who message you like, I'm 34 and I'm a dom and no one is. But I'm like, do you really understand though? Like everything that goes into this, like, my favorite thing to judge a dom by is if they've ever tried subbing. And I won't let them do something to me they've never tried as a sub because you have to understand like what you're putting, what experience you're giving to
I
a
like
sub.
that. I have not thought about that. That's interesting.
The good ones will have done it.
Yeah.
The ones who don't really put any thought into it probably haven't.
Because they don't know what someone, and maybe they're in a different mindset, but at least you know what it's like to be on the other side.
Right.
So.
Right, because like doming is not so much about what you want to do to someone as much as it is the sub is telling you what they want to experience, and it's your job to facilitate it if that's something you're like into.
And
you know?
in facilitating that, you also get a gratification at some level. So like, I'm helping you, helping me.
Right.
Sort of thing. It's like it's that balance. It's that like give take on both levels. Different like. And being able to understand that there are many different layers to it. Yeah. And that's like having a respect for it. Yeah. So, which is
precisely
lost on a lot of people, I think.
I agree. I don't think everyone truly like understands the depth to these relationships and also how like cathartic they can be, how beautiful their experiences can be. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe this is something that triggers a past event, and by doing that you don't know anybody's experience, so as long as I feel like you're respecting each other and what you're doing, like it can be a very positive, like maybe other people see it as degrading or whatever they want to call it, but it's not that.
I mean, some people like to like heal themselves or just feel good like hiking, and some people like to get spanked like whatever.
And some people like to do both.
Exactly.
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 That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's an interesting point that like people kind of think of these things, like whether you're talking about like doming, subbing, people kind of have this idea that like you're broken and that's why you're doing
this.
You're
trying to repair something.
Right, or you failed at your job or whatever.
Exactly, because this type of work, and you don't realize that it is a full-time, genuine job doing this. And you don't realize it unless you're in it, but it's real easy for other people to criticize it. It's like you don't realize, like, creators are running this. I mean, the ones who are that I've experienced are running it as a business. Right. It's like, okay, here's the schedule. You're paying attention to trends, paying attention to like, well, what are the people that I'm attracting? What do they want? How do I alter my content to that? Like, you have to be on all the apps, online, at all hours, and like also putting forth like your own boundaries. Like you're constantly firing on all like on all cylinders.
Yeah, because it's honestly like starting off in this industry is kind of like a fast track business school for like brand management.
Oh, you can post a nude picture of you and your tits and you'll make $1,000, and it's like you have no idea.
You know, unless you're like already famous.
Exactly.
So that's not gonna happen.
If you're Iggy Azalea and you start an OnlyFans, sure. With your thing, yeah.
But because it's the crowd, right? So she's had a crowd of people that follow her and that are attached to her, and so
and she's created a sexualized sort of like identity,
right? And so she's pulling from that crowd, and it's not really different than what we're doing. It's just that you have to. Like, you're only going to win, like, 5% of your fans, right? Like, the 5% of people who come across you are going to give you money. Right. Essentially, or pay you. Yeah. So, you just have to keep working on making that pool bigger. If you're famous, then that pool's already big. Yeah. But I think the majority of our work goes into, like, trying to just make your brand known enough that 5% is a good income.
And I come from, like, a very corporate background, which was, like, fit in. And so now getting into this, like creating my own brand has made me like, it's been a very uncomfortable process because I'm just so used to like suppress. Yeah. And now I have to like put myself out there constantly and like, and you know, literally and figuratively. So it's been it's like not only is there like the admin work that nobody sees, the scheduling, the things, the responding.
Which takes up like most of your day.
Exactly. And then the actual like content creation. And then for women with our standards of like getting ready and doing our nail, you know, it's like all of that goes into it as well. And then also, I need to have my own voice too. Right. So it's just like, it's so much.
It's hard work, and I do feel like it's high reward for a lot of work because I do like I've had similar experiences where like doing this kind of work has made me have to think about a lot of stuff or like areas of my sexuality that I wasn't entirely comfortable with before.
Or you learn what you don't. There are moments where you learn what you don't like. Right. Because you're experiencing that and you're like, I don't like this.
Which is just as important because you need to be able to list off your no's and
exactly.
your yeses, you know?
And sometimes you need to experience a no. Because like, I'm like, I don't know if I like something, and then I experience it, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I don't. Yeah. But you have to go, you're uncomfortable in that time.
Right, and so that's and that's where you grow, so, you know, uncomfortable situations.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, I have one more question.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite kink? And if so, what is it and why?
Let's see. My top one, I don't know if you're allowed to say this on YouTube, but play. That's my...
Interesting. In what type of way were you doing that?
So that's an interesting question because when I started, I kind of was just more fascinated with it. I kind of just viewed it as like an escape or something that I just enjoyed. I think I've learned over time that it's kind of a way to like let go. As like a fetish model, I'm mostly doing like hardcore BDSM stuff. Right. A lot of these kinks and a lot of these like scenarios are rooted in real life like stigmas and taboos, and like you can look at it as like you can look at impact play as being problematic, misogynistic, and abusive.
Sure.
Because there are real world like examples of that being used against someone, but I think you can also look at these things as kind of a self-empowerment way,
well,
like reclaiming
I'm letting
them.
You do these things to me. I'm allowing you, like I'm allowing my body to be used in this way, and if I didn't, no one could do it.
Right, and then part of it is kind of like allowing, it's very, I find it very cathartic to allow myself to be on such a sub-level with someone I trust. I only do it with people that I really trust.
I mean, it's a complete trust.
Right. And when you have that trust with someone, then you can really let go. Right. And you know what it feels like to just give yourself over to someone who then it feels like they're taking care of you.
I'm allowing you this, and you're doing this, but I trust you, and so it's strengthening a bond, and so it's really just like reforming preconceived notions.
Right, because you're playing with it in your mind and in your bond.
Allowing yourself to just like bypass everything that anyone else thinks and like, I like this maybe because of a certain thing, but I'm allowing it, and it's with someone you trust, so it's safe, even if it looks like it's not safe.
Right.
But it doesn't. But anyone else's perception doesn't matter.
Right.
Because yours is the only important thing.
I'm lucky enough to have a lot of fans and a lot of supporters who enjoy my content, who understand these kind of things. I do get my fair share of people who don't.
Of course.
And who like to talk shit about it. But I'm lucky enough to be like an example of that for the people that want to watch it. And I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by people who also understand those dynamics. So
that's amazing.
Really,
that's good stuff. Other points?
I want to know your favorite kink.
My favorite kink. I have I have a kink and a fetish. I would say my kink is like rope play. I love being tied up. I really love shibari. And the reason for that, which I'm very lucky to have found like a very good shibari rigger, and I do a lot of different things in my day-to-day, and my mind is always racing. But when it comes to shibari, you have to be completely focused on yourself and your body. And when you're being tied, I mean, there are vessels you have to worry about. And so you have to stay like consistently conscious of how your body feels. And so for me, in those however long it takes, I get to just forget about everything else that exists. And just all I'm thinking about is myself and my body. What am I feeling? And that is not something that I allow myself to do very often.
It's kind of like meditation.
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay, now I'm being forced to think about me.
Yeah.
And how I'm feeling, and then being able to have that level of trust with another person is like another aspect of that. Because like I'm a person who's very like solo, don't trust people, you know. So that I would say that's like my favorite kink. Favorite fetish is I have a big cum fetish. Yeah. I love all day. Yes. And I think that's just like, I feel like a statuesque of pleasure. Yeah. Like when I'm just like sitting on my knees.
That's a great way to look at it.
And covered in cum. I'm like, you have all your best, when you have felt the best. I know
evidence is
an embodiment of that.
Yeah.
And I did this, and just me, and I feel very like goddess-like.
I like that, yeah.
And I've allowed you to be a part of this.
Right, you had the pleasure of coming on you.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my jam. So those are my two.
Nice.
Kink fetish sort of things, yeah.
Well, it was lovely to talk about kinks and porn and
talk more about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it with your friends. Talk about it with yourself.
Yeah. And then go watch some.
And go pay for some. Go buy some. People who pay for porn.
We love you.
We love you. Yes. Okay. Okay. Bye.